Hi, welcome to Brewski with Banks. Today, my guest is the legendary drummer, musician, composer, arranger, and one of my mentors in my musical journey, the great Ranjit Barot.
Nice to be here, Gino. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's just start at the beginning. How did music come into your life?
Well, my mother was, the great dancer Sitara Devi. She was a Kathak dancer. I was born in England and I moved back when I was 10. And in all that time, of course, music was in the environment as such, but I thought I'd be a soccer player. I was a Manchester United fan. My favorite players were George Best and Bobby Charlton. And,
right.
I thought I'd be a soccer player. And then I moved back to India and joined a sort of, very English-speaking school, a Jesuit school. And I think I must have been 13 or 14. And some kids in the class said, there's a school competition, we need a drummer. Now, the only thing I had done before that in the 6th standard was some march past practice, which I had just picked up hearing some stuff. It was all homemade. It was not probably correct in any way. But I could do some roughs and some little double stroke kind of things, and it sounded like a marching thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. But that was the extent. And then they said, we need a drummer for this school competition. And I don't know what. I put my hand up. And I never played drums. I never played a drum set.
Right.
So I didn't know the independence or the mechanics of it. But I remember, I think the first time I played like if I was in Johnny Rotten and the Sex Pistols, because I played like boom, 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 bap,
Yeah.
boom, boom, bap. Just like used the floor tom as a thing, and my time was good. And that night I didn't sleep, and I knew that something had happened. And here's the thing: if you can find what you think you like to do early on in life, it's a great head start, because I didn't have a game plan or anything, but those were the seeds of knowing that I would become a musician.
Right.
At that point, you're in love with the whole thing. So you don't worry about how am I going to pay my bills or how's this going to pan out? Will I even be successful? So, and that's it. I just found out where to get an old Gladnick kit. And then I used to go to cafes to watch drummers because, in those days, all the drummers were Catholic boys.
Right.
Whether it was the Vaz boys or whether there was another Lester, not Coutinho, there was another boy.
Oh.
And there was a cafe on Breach Candy called Bombelli's. He was a Swiss guy. He had Sunday jam sessions. And I used to save up money to get one dessert and watch him play. And because I had no idea what was the deal, man. I mean, we had no radio, we had nothing,
Right. And what is the music they were playing?
They were playing like, I'm trying to remember what the music was. It's probably
like pop rock from the time?
Pop rock from that time, and very, very, it's pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
All I wanted to know was, how does this work? And I remember the first day I got independence was I heard John Bonham play When the Levee Breaks.
Right.
It's quarter on the hat. Boom, ka, oot, ooh, ka, boom. I said, okay. This is the foundation. Now we got to work with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a challenging time, but great learning.
But you
time
didn't
for me.
learn with anybody. You were just observing,
No.
watching.
It's just records and
Right.
whoever I could go and see. Yeah.
So then when did you started playing live, like gigs and stuff?
I would say 1975, 6. I was playing in a college band, and we used to rent gear from a band called The People.
Right.
They had these great amplifiers and stuff, and like an old Rogers drum kit. We had no gear, so we'd rent from them. And on one of the gigs, they came to pick up the gear, and Babu Chaudhry, the great, wonderful guitar player, heard me play, and Bunny was there, Ronnie Desai was there, and they said, who's this drummer, man? And they asked me. And it's weird because they had disbanded.
Oh.
Yeah. And they said, can you believe that? They saw me and said, we'd like to put the band together again, and would you play? And I said, does the Pope wear a funny hat? And they were my first real mentors in a way of, we played covers, but we played like really adventurous music, everything from Jimi Hendrix to the Stones to Steely Dan to Santana. So it was a good learning curve for me. And then, Trilok Gurtu, our dear brother and fellow musician, left this band called Waterfront. And they were quiet for about a year. And then Babu told him, he said, man, you got to check this kid out, And I think it's the first time I played odd time signatures. I got, they called me in to, audition, but yeah. And then I think I did, I don't know, man, 5 years of playing double bill gigs. That was my shed period. 4 hours of drums a night.
Wow.
2 bands. People, interval, Waterfront. People, interval, Waterfront.
And that was rehearsing?
Yeah.
So a lot of playing in the week.
A lot of playing. That's all we did. We had nothing else. There was no phone. There was no Netflix. There was nothing, man. No distractions.
Mm-hmm. And do you think growing up around mom and that experience, you just naturally had a certain time feel? And
yes, I don't know. I think genetics has something to do with it. I think observing. I always got to see great tabla players at home, from Latif Ahmed Saab and Shafat Ahmed, and then of course Abbaji, and it was all around. The environment was there. I mean, I just wasn't paying attention to it in the way that this would be my vocation.
Right.
It was enriching my sensibilities, but I didn't know what it would mean in my musical journey. And this is the thing I told. Were you there when we went to Shivaji Park the day it was a Barsi, but we couldn't do the Barsi, but we did something at Shivaji Park and Zakir Bhai came?
I was not there.
Yeah,
it was at the school.
It was at the school.
Yeah.
It was at the school. And something kind of struck me because I think I was about 12 or 13, and Abbaji would come over, right? Him and my mother were very close. My mother loved him dearly, and he would tell her, so what are you cooking tonight? Like, what's going on at home? And she would say, like, because you know what? He would love some of the North Indian vegetarian stuff also, because he got pakaud of biryani and stuff. Yeah. And she'd say, no, what would you like to eat? Khan Sahab, I'll make something. And he said, okay, is your son at home? And she'd say, yeah. And this is weird because I don't really think, I wasn't playing drums or anything. And, he would come and have a drink, and, while my mother was cooking, he'd take me into the bedroom and he'd say, sit. And he would recite these kaidas and padants to me.
Yeah.
He knew I would be a drummer before I knew. So, it's kind of wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. He knew. Or he said, let me infect him and see where this goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it stuck. So that was kind of how it all began. And then, of course, I met your father, and he's one of my biggest mentors musically. And I don't say this just from a drum point of view, because I think what drew me to... Here's the weird thing. I went to see Louis and Braz play with Johnny Edmonds and Philip Vaz at a Birla Auditorium, the one that is down in that sub-basement kind of thing. And I was really young. I must have been 15. I just started playing. And here's the audacity, and I'm thinking, I want to play with them one day. And this is God's truth. And I got to play with them. And this is 1979, 80. And I got a call from Niranjan Javeri saying... And I went to audition. Me and my dear brother Steve Sequeira, who I love dearly. I think he's one of the grooviest players we've ever had. And, it's unfortunate that there's not enough documented that some of the kids can't hear what Steve used to do.
Right.
Oh, man, it's just cooking. Groove, just cooking, man. I mean, I never heard anything like that. There were drummers, man. There were people, Johnny was swinging. Johnny Edmonds was swinging, man. The killer was Jerry DeMoss.
Yeah. You told me about him.
I mean, unnatural.
Yeah. Even Trilok mentioned about it.
But Trilok was scared out of his pants, man. And you would be if you heard Jerry play. He was a monster. Way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. So yes, my journey, that was it, man. People, Waterfront, and Louis Banks. That was it. I got the holy trinity.
Yeah.
And
then you all went out. You all went to Europe.
We went to Europe. And like Louis says, we went out, we had a great time, and we came back and did nothing.
But that experience in Europe, now you've been listening to all these great musicians on LP, cassette, but now you're kind of playing
I'm
the
getting
same
to see them.
festivals. Yeah, how was
Quite
that?
a few of them. Oh, it's just incredible. I mean, and also, like, I'm watching. There was a bunch of guys, though, I had never heard who were monsters. There was a drummer called Eddie Gladden.
Right.
Who played with Billy Harper. No, not with Billy Harper, sorry. Eddie Gladden was playing with Dexter Gordon. And, oof. And I'd never heard real jazz drumming.
Right.
Right. And so I'd soak up as much as I could because, everyone would head back to the hotel, but I'd stay back and then I'd also help them pack up. Because they don't have roadies, jazz gigs, man. There's no, Eddie Gladden was one. There was another drummer called Newman Baker who played with Billy Harper. Oof. And I think I got that from him. The whole thing of, he was playing straight ahead, but with match grip. He wasn't playing traditional at all.
Okay.
He was playing match grip.
No, nice.
And everything that you could do it, he was doing, man.
Right.
And driving, that whole push that they have,
Yeah.
Oh man! And then the guy who really, and there's a funny gig we did where Billy Higgins, they lost his snare drum, so he played my snare drum.
Oh wow!
Yeah, Cedar Walton, Billy Higgins, Bob Berg.
Wow, young Bob Berg.
Bob Berg, man. But the guy who really blew my mind was Tommy Campbell.
Yeah.
Oof. Illegal, man.
And you got to meet him, no? And one of the gigs.
Well, we played the Blue Note with John G. And I didn't know he was in the crowd. And, Blue Note, the green room's upstairs, and I was up. And we'd kind of finished, and I was getting ready to go. And I see Tommy coming up the stairs. And I bowed to him because, for me, he was, and he was so sweet, man. He came up to me, hugged me, and he said, if I was any younger, I'd go home and practice how to play 5/4. Because, 5-piece band with Janji, it's a scorcher.
Yeah.
Now, he's very sweet and very kind. I think they're just... I had a great education. I think that's important to understand for kids today is that it's one thing getting it off the net. And I think mentorship is very important, spending time with intelligent musicians. And go live outside and see really, because music is it's a cultural thing. Let's be honest, you and me, we both pursue the drum set, but this has a history. It's like if you want to rap, got to go out and hang in the Bronx or somewhere, man. Go meet those people because, if you want to learn Spanish, you could go to the Spanish Institute here, but, go eat their food.
Right.
Spend some time with them. And then the language starts to take on another dimension. And it's the same with music.
Right.
It's the same with music.
So this thing, like, as opposed to learning from books or from, like, a teacher.
Yeah.
This apprenticeship system with all the musicians who knew before.
Absolutely. And the thing that happens with that apprenticeship is, you see, what happens is we have two things, right? We have facility and we have wisdom. Mm-hmm. You got two things, right, in music. Like, that famous Zildjian Day thing with Tony Williams. And he's wearing that white thing.
Yeah.
Looks like he's come out of the hospital or something. It's a weird white kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he had two teachers. And I know Alan Dawson was one of them.
Yeah.
And he said, I had a teacher for technique and I had one for imagination. And I don't know who the other teacher was. I can't remember the name either. But I think what he's trying to say is, yes, you must. There is a language to this instrument and we must know. And there's a sound.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sound that you got to get out of the instrument. Yeah. But then you got to spend time with somebody that unlocks your potential and says, this is fine, all the Radamacues and the Flammadiddles and everything. Yeah, that's good. That's to open you. That's to make you... Here's the thing. If I'm on stage and I'm playing real time, and I experienced this with John McLaughlin, I need to have the shortest time available to me between thought and execution.
Right.
So if I'm playing and there's a thought, how fast I can make it happen is how much time I've spent on the instrument and familiarized myself with the mechanics, because this is, all instruments are, but this is a severely mechanical instrument. Yeah. I mean, we're talking levers and pulleys and pedals and it's not just
and it's
not just syntax, and it's not just there's the time it takes for the leg to push the beater down. That your brain is factoring in millions of milliseconds to be able to make a judgment that results in a musical output.
Right.
So yes, time spent on the instrument, and I think it's equally important to spend outside the instrument and imagine and have lucid dreaming. This is what I do most of the time. What is the context of what you're playing, So we know that we have an approach when we're doing drum solos and master classes. Right. That's an approach. We got to have another kind of presentation. You see what I mean? And then what's your role in the band and the function of the song? And how much can you drive it? How much are you allowed? That's also another thing. The band leader's got to be hip enough to say, hey, it's cool. You step out, It's many things. I think drummers get a bad rap on a lot of counts, but I think without drummers, it would be a very bleak landscape.
For sure. But so coming back to that, where, of course, like I always say, like the audience has no idea what a paradiddle is. And they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah. So either sounds good or it doesn't sound good.
Exactly.
So that thought, when you practice, of course, you said develop skill.
Yeah, you must.
But then the other side is kind of way more important, I think.
Yes. Important to unlearn. Okay? I'll give you an example. There's an album I heard, David Crosby's last album, of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, one of the greatest songwriters we've ever had. And it's one of the most beautiful albums I've heard. And the groove and the sound of the drums is so deep and beautiful. And I looked up credits. It's Gary Novak.
Really?
And you wouldn't know.
Wow.
And Abe Laboriel Jr.
Right.
Two guys driving that album. So I've always said this. Let me just take a sip of the brewski. Imagine that you have the ability to play a lot of notes.
Right.
You've got the whole thing. And if you distill all of that into pocket,
right,
you got to be a 10,000 watt amp and play 100 watts.
Yeah.
Because the 9,900 watts backing you, it is what we call in tabla vazan, weight.
Yeah.
You hear Gad when he lays it down. You hear Cobham when he lays it down. Just a groove. Why does it sound like that? Because he can play much more, but he chooses to play this. But if you're maxed out at 500 watts, I'm sorry, that groove isn't going to sizzle.
Yeah.
Now that's a choice you make, to bring it all down. It's like Kung Fu. It's that whole ha!
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So groove playing is just that. You could play a lot more, but you choose to play very little.
Yeah.
You see Zakir Bhai's Peshkar when he starts, he's not even started flying yet,
Yeah.
but where he's placing it, because he can do so much, he's just choosing it. Yeah, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. So yes, learn, unlearn, and be imaginative. I think it's very important to dream and be musical and not be scared to be quiet. Just because you're playing a drum set don't mean you got to be heard all the time. You know what I mean? What I was listening to on the way here? I was listening to Blue and Green, Miles, and you listen to what Jimmy Cobb is doing. I mean, this is some Tai Chi Zen stuff, man. I'm serious. I mean, 8-10 minutes of that with a quarter note on the cymbal, but the left hand is doing everything, all the roughs, everything. He's not moving this. Boom, ba, ba, ke, ko. But you hear and I mean, for me, I know kids want to play fast, and I think it's great, and I'm a big fan of facility, but I'm come from a place where I really respect that kind of meditative approach. Wow.
Yeah.
That lack of ego. That's incredible, man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
To sustain, because it's like a simmer, no?
Oof.
Yeah.
It's a simmer, you're right. And it's cooking. And him, and I think it's Paul Chambers.
Yes.
Yes. And Bill Evans, Train and Miles.
Cannonball.
They're cooking. It is just cooking, man. And I know that it's old, and I know all these things, but I think the spirit. And here's the thing. So now let's talk about spirit, and let's talk about modern drummers. Let's talk about modern drummers that still embody that spirit. Right. And I'll tell you a few that I think. I think Matt Gaska.
Yeah.
I like him. He's got poetry. I like that. There's poetry. He's obviously an incredible chopster.
Yeah.
But he's got poetry. There's something happening there.
Right.
I see it in his playing,
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think if you can maintain that thread from the past to the present, there's some things that are timeless. Spirit and intent, those are timeless. That's got to be in your playing. I don't care how many notes you play.
Right.
And this is just my opinion, of course, but I think those things are timeless. The drum set.
Yeah.
The drum set will be here after we're gone. You'll be looking at this, and it'll be looking at you and saying, "Next."
Yeah.
Yeah, next. Who are you? I'm still here, man.
Yeah.
Who's the next guy? What are you going to do? What are you saying here?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think spirit and intent are important. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Jazz Yatra sextet thing happened, right?
Yeah.
To just get back to the timeline of what
yeah.
you've been doing. And then you came back, and then what was happening in India at the time, like post those jazz festival tours and stuff?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we would wait every 2 years for the Jazz Yatra, but I mean, Louis was still doing things. He would put things together, and luckily I was always part of them. The hoods and those little kind of things. A lot of us were paying the bills, man. It's like, how do you support your family? And it's in between advertising and this. And
so that's when your studio thing kind of picked up.
My studio thing started with your dad. Yeah, I had no work before that, man.
The gig circuit kind of went down.
Yeah, because, television exploded and everyone said, okay, we're staying home and we're going to watch this and blah, blah, blah.
But before you started doing your own ad stuff, you were playing in film sessions, drums?
Yes, I was. Actually, I started playing in film sessions really early because I made a deal with my mother because I dropped out of college.
Okay.
And this is 1975, 76. And she said, well, I mean, like, what is this thing with drums? Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to support yourself? And I think I just told her, listen, we'll make a deal. Give me a year. If I can't find regular work playing drums, I'll go back to college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she said, okay. I'll give you a year. Now, I had no real game plan, and this is 1976, but Kalyanji Anandji, the music directors, Kalyanji used to live on Pedder Road, and he'd go for a walk down Nepensi Road, and on his way back, he'd like to come and meet my mother for chai a couple of times a week. He loved to tell jokes, and my mother loved to hear the jokes. I don't know what the jokes were about. But 1976, 77, I got myself that Tama kit. I went to Singapore and got myself this, what it was, Superstar or whatever, but concert toms,
Okay.
one-sided, you know.
Oh, it was Tama. I thought it was Ludwig.
No,
it was
the
Tama.
first one was
What are you
Tama.
saying? Wow, okay.
Yeah. Because Cobham, man.
Yeah.
You know, Cobham was playing Tama, so that was for me, you know, and I flew to Sweeney. And anyway, I was in my room practicing, and he's there with my mother, Kalyanji, and he says, what's this sound, you know? Who's playing drums? And he says, my son. I'll tell him to quieten down. He says, no, I want to hear it. And he stood outside the room, apparently, and heard me play, and then when I stopped, I was chilling. All I had in my room was a mattress, a cupboard, and the drum kit. And I asked my mother for an air conditioner so that I could try and block the sound. Anyway, so he says, he comes in and he says, just you? And I said, yeah. So it sounds like 4 guys playing outside. Would you be interested in doing a film recording? And I said, okay. I just said yes because I knew I had no work, man.
Yeah.
And I did a drum solo for a movie called Professor Pyarelal, and which apparently Dharmendra has mimed. I have no idea what it means.
Wow, we have to find that footage.
It's there. You tell
We'll find
Maya,
it.
my wife. She played it for me the other day.
Wow.
It's there. It's there.
We'll
online.
watch it.
And that's it. And then the word spread, and I started doing film sessions, and I found this young kid who would be my roadie, and we'd
Right.
load everything up onto a cab and go to recordings. Yeah.
So you used to take your own kit?
I took my own kit.
And what was the tech like for recording drums?
Oh, it was very low. It was like,
How many mics? One?
I think I got like a bass drum and 2 overheads max. That was it. Yeah.
So your internal mix had to be great.
You had to play, and that's what I learned with the film things. If you were too loud, you had to control yourself so
Yeah.
it fit with everybody else, and it's great learning. Great learning.
Right.
Great learning.
So who all were you working with like right after that?
So then Kalyanji Anandji, and then it spread to Lakshmikant Pyarelal, and those are the main guys. And I did little things with Shankar Jaikishan. I mean, Jaikishan had passed away, so Shankar with him, and it's mainly these 2 cats.
Right.
It's kind of oscillating between the 2. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And then I met Louis, and then I just stopped the film work for a while, and I really was very interested in developing my jazz fusion voice.
Right. Also, so that was I think Sangam was the situation where you were actually playing with classical musicians.
Yes. I wasn't playing with Indian classical musicians before that.
Right.
No. And my exposure to Carnatic music was also not so great.
It was mainly Hindustani at home, no?
Mostly Hindustani. And then, of course, all we knew was from Shakti and, from those records.
You know, I did a TED talk recently about the history of the drum set in India. I'll tell you about it in detail, but I mentioned Trilok and you as being probably before y'all, nobody, especially you on a conventional drum kit, played Indian material on a drum set.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because of your background with listening to Abbaji at home and everything, it must have come easy to kind of cup the T-highs and everything.
It wasn't too crazy. I could wrap my head around it. It wasn't alien.
Yeah.
So it was not like I was coming up from it from a foreigner point of view.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was familiar.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it might have been familiar genetically also because, who knows what is embedded in our system.
Right.
But yeah.
So playing those korvais and those
The funny thing
phrasing.
is, the funny thing is when I got the call to come and audition for Louis, Steve Sequeira was there, and I loved Steve, and Steve loved me too, man. He would tell me, he said, man, you're like you're nipping at our heels, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had written a song in Waterfront with the guitar player in 21. In the time signature of 21.8
Yeah.
or 10 and a half. And we got the call, the door opened, and I don't know who, somebody said, why don't you come in and play, you know? And I, out of deference, I told Steve, I said, no, Steve, you first. And he said, no, you go in. And they played the song for me, City Light. And I was 21. I said, okay, I got this, man, you know. And I played it, and it was fun because, yeah, I knew what to do.
Yeah.
And then I finished, and then they came out to call Steve. Steve left. He heard me playing, and he anyway, it's not to take away from Steve. That's not Steve's bag.
Right.
That's not,
Yeah.
you know, Steve is a monster, groove monster, man, you know, and, you know, this is a very, very, what Louis and Rama were doing it was very new, and it was really kind of out there in a way for most drum set players, I'd say.
And you probably got to really flex everything that you probably had, like the rock thing, the jazz thing, and then the Indian classical thing.
Yeah. And I came to the thing with also breaking down a lot of stuff that Gad had done, you know. I'd probably say Billy and Gad were my two biggest.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah.
At that time. Because they were so polar different, man, you know.
Right. Exactly.
In a way,
That's
you know
true.
what I mean?
That is true.
And I just loved all of it. And I thought, if I could get the essence of these two drummers, then I could apply myself to so many musical situations.
Right.
So I had the Carbon influence for the rough fusion kind of playing.
Yeah.
And then I had Gad could pocket and have these incredible things with the hat, and those I would do in other settings. So I was, you know, I was copying them all the time, man. You know, so yeah.
But that's true. They are polar opposites completely.
In a way, and if you can get that DNA, man, that's like supreme.
And then in the middle, then that's you in the middle.
Yes, I just took from, and then, you know, it went on to Peter Erskine and, you know, Omar Hakim, and even I must mention Narada Michael Walden, because I heard Carbon first, but then I heard Walden, and I was like, what is going on, man? Visions of the Emerald Beyond. I mean,
his drum sound is amazing on that.
Man, it's 24-inch bass drums, crash. It's like toms, like I think smallest tom was 12. You know, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18. You know, it's like, you know, and he, even now, he plays DW, but even now his sound is like, you know.
It's the person.
Yeah. It's too much.
Okay, so the film thing happened before Sangam. So when Sangam happened, then you were more
I took a break,
into the fusion.
I took a break. I took a break. I wanted to really, Louis, and, you know, he had infected me with this desire to pursue. And then we worked a bit, and then it was around 86, I think, Louis got really involved with the studio work and, you know, offered me a job. And that's how you know, before I met John G, I didn't play drums for like 16 years or 17 years. And, you know, I was just doing producing. And that's great, because I learned a whole other aspect of music making that I might not have done if I just stayed a drummer.
Right. But you were always into like the whole big picture thing, right?
I was, but like in the band, like I'd pick up the guitar and I'd mess around and I'd sing in the band, of course.
Yeah.
But I'd never composed, and, you know, that really fueled my imagination.
Mm-hmm. And then the technology was changing, right?
I loved it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And I think, I know it's pedantic, but I think we're, you know, when they say we're drummers, we're drummers, but I'm a musician, man. You know, drums is my primary instrument.
Right.
You know, that's all it is. I can compose and I can arrange, and I think most drummers are melodic in their own. You know, if you're not melodic, you wouldn't be part of a band. You know, you'd just be playing alone all the time.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make sense, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So Ultimatum also was around that time?
Ultimatum would have been would have been just before. Yeah, you're right, actually.
Around Sangam time?
Yeah, just before Sangam. And when I went to Europe, I had been playing with them for a year or so, and there's a band.
And Carl was with you?
Yeah,
in
we got
Ultimatum?
Carl. We got Carl. No.
Oh.
No.
So
Sorry.
you met Carl at the Sangam thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So Ultimatum, I met Dinsha before, but happened after we came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then you and Carl then connected at Sangam and then...
I brought him in. I still think he's one of the greatest players this country has had.
Yeah.
Bass players. Really something.
Yeah, he was on everything for like decades. No?
Yeah,
He was playing on everything.
Yeah. He's an incredible musician. Yeah. Absolutely. Ultimatum was a fun thing. And but like I told you earlier before we started, we're foreigners, man. This music we pursue is alien to a large part of India.
Yeah.
I was talking to Ishan the other day and I said, "You're single. Why are you here? Why are you in this country, really? If you think about it, what we love to do doesn't belong here. We're forcing ourselves into situations in the sense that the drum set and the true pursuit of everything this instrument can do is a very, 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 it is not represented in this country. You cannot find many musical settings to actually represent this instrument properly.
With its right language.
With its right language, with its depth of expression, with its...
Do you think it hasn't been incorporated because drums exist in India regionally?
Yeah, but
how the drum set is in Latin America and stuff like that.
The people that commission you look at you as just a timekeeper, just a guy to fill a slot.
Mm-hmm.
Most composers don't know what to write for drums.
Right.
What are the possibilities? Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can paint pictures, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
but the composer needs to know.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What does this instrument do? So what I say is, just like I've made an effort to learn keyboards and I know what a bass player can play and everything, composers need to make an effort to know what a drummer is capable of.
Right.
Then this instrument will be represented.
Yeah.
And why it's represented in the West better is because those arrangers and composers know the breadth of this instrument.
Right.
Yeah. That's it, really.
Yeah. Chick Corea played drums. Coltrane played drums.
Jan Hammer plays drums.
Jan Hammer plays drums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael Brecker played drums too.
Dave Liebman.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there's an album. I need to find it. Dave Liebman, Chick Corea, and one more person. Who's there? Playing drums.
I've seen clips of Chick online playing. Yeah.
There's a famous story about him and Gad. Up in, they were doing a club stint somewhere, and Gad was playing, and in the break, Chick played for him, and told Gad apparently about where he'd like things to go or pull back or whatever. I don't know. I think it stuck with him.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you got into composing. Then.
Yeah.
And then jingles, and then film happened.
That's it. Films, advertising. I just didn't play drums for many, many, many years.
So your composer,
music producer. That was it,
yeah.
and I was fine with it because I thought I didn't know what I thought this is what I'm. As long as it's music related, I'm fine.
Right.
And I discovered a new part of my brain. I loved it, and I still do.
Yeah.
In fact, I must tell you, my biggest study is jazz harmony and reharmonization and stuff, because I think playing drums is like riding a bike. I know how to ride a bike.
Right.
I mean, if you want me to do a handstand on the bike, I can't do it. If you want me to pedal backwards, I can't do it. But if you want me to ride elegantly, I can do it.
Yeah.
I know how to ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not belittling it, and I'm not taking away from people, because I'm a big fan of people like, I don't know, Ronald Bruner and Mike Mitchell and people who have pushed the boundaries, and I cannot imagine what the dexterity is to do
Right.
that. But that doesn't keep me up at night.
Right.
You see what I mean? What keeps me up at night is a beautiful passage of music that I wish I had written. And that's what keeps me up at night. Yeah.
Right. And what you're still doing.
I'm still doing, and I've got a new record I'm working on. My wife and people think that I should put it out sooner, but
Yes.
but it's coming, and it's all to do with music and writing.
Yeah.
I really play a very small part as a drummer in that. I
Right.
just want to be keeping the groove and the time, and I think I played a lot of notes with John G in 15 years. I got all the notes out of me, man, you know.
Yeah. So when you really came back to playing, was it the floating point session, or were you playing before?
Floating point. Really. I mean, I did a tour with Zakir Bhai in 2004.
Master of Percussion?
It was embarrassing. My chops were so bad. And he was so patient with me. God bless him. He was so patient with me. And it's also hard to play after him. You know what I mean?
And you always played first?
Yeah, he'd do the solo, and then me and Tawfiq would look at each other and say, like, oh, this is... What? What? It's like a sacrificial lamb. You got to go put your head on the... So, but, you know, no, floating point. Yeah, when I met John G at the Barsi.
Right.
Yeah, and Eric Holland was there, that
Yeah.
big, that big jam session.
Yeah.
Where we met, yeah.
So that's when your connection with John G took
Yeah,
off.
it really happened there. He, we got to play a little bit on stage, and then he met me after. He says, "Who are you? And like, what's your name, man?" And I said, I said, "You don't know me." I had met him very briefly with Trilok Bhai
Okay.
at North Sea. They were playing.
Okay.
And I went back, we went out and got, Trilok Bhai is also a trip, man.
Yeah.
He said, "Nani, we have to go out. Let's go and get some food." I said, "Okay." And he introduced me to this amazing Indonesian place. So we went, picked up food, went back to the room, and John G came and ate a bit with us.
Okay.
That's the first time I met him briefly.
Okay.
But of course, he wouldn't have remembered. But yeah, 86.
Wow.
Sorry, 2006.
Right.
2006
Floating
is
point.
when I met him.
Yeah.
And he called me the next day and said, "Let's record this album." And I said, and I had that little jungle kit.
Right. I
Which
remember.
Zakir Bhai
Yeah.
gifted me. Yeah. Little 16-inch bass drum.
That's actually the classic album, because all the Raju 5-piece band, all from that album.
They're all from there. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And then 15 years on tour,
Yeah, 15 years.
Fourth Dimension.
Fourth dimension. Fourth dementia,
Yeah.
as I like to call it. No. It's just, listen, I got saved, man. I'll tell you, Gino, I got I tell people my whole life, and this is the thing I try to tell kids, respect what's been handed to you. In your case, you are your father's son, and you respect the genetic and evolutionary leg up that you've got. You
Yeah.
can't abuse that.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And if your father doesn't correct you, I will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got that. And,
Yeah.
and that's something you need to serve.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't dilute that
Yeah.
that legacy. I got saved by so many people. And a lot of people find me difficult and stuff. I'm not difficult, man. I'm just not ready to give up my mentors. I'm not ready to sell down the river for some money. I mean, we're talking about the greatest people in the world of music. And if they had faith in me, what's my responsibility? To play the best of my ability to represent them. We represent
Right.
the people that turned us on.
Right.
You are nobody, man. We are nobody. We were given a gift, and we're running with it. And now, if you run with it, you serve it.
Yeah.
You do the best that you can.
Yeah.
you know.
And you pay it forward because then you start
Of
mentoring
course,
people.
of
younger
course, of
musicians.
course, of course. You know, listen, all of us, man, with whatever knowledge we have, we're like flowing rivers. You know, people can come and visit, bring a cup, bring a bucket,
Right,
bring what you got, man,
right.
and just take what you can, and that's it. We, you know, teaching. How do I teach you what you already know? What is it? Maybe you are hipper than me already. I don't know, man. You know, I mean, meet a kid who's, wanting to play drums or play music, comes and meets me. I may find that I've got something to learn from this person.
Yeah.
You know, who's the teacher, who's the student? We those are all hierarchies that are created in society. We don't have that. We're flowing. And if I can flow better with you, I'll flow with you. And that's it, man. You know, that's how it is. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very simple. Yeah.
Right. So now let's talk drums.
Yeah.
Drum set.
Okay.
So you said that you had bought a Tama kit in Singapore. That was one of your first, like,
Yeah,
real
before that I
pro
had a
kit.
Gladnick kit, man.
Right.
And my mother too. I mean, I found out like where I could get a kit, and it was at Sardar Flute
Yeah.
in Dadar.
Yeah.
And I told my mother. She said, "What are you going on about? You play drums?" I said, "As of yesterday, I do." She said, "Oh, okay. In a couple of days, we'll go." We went to the shop. Now, I had been taking the number 63 bus from my house, which stopped across the street from Sardar Flute.
Okay.
And I'd been checking it out for 3 or 4 days. I was just mesmerized. You know, with the right cymbal thing coming out of the bass drum. man.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one.
Yeah.
One cymbal, hi-hat, rack, and floor.
Right.
Snare. That was it. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. And my mother being my mother, she came to the shop, and then of course the elderly, whoever was Chet Singh, Gurbakh Singh, the main, he recognized my mother and he said, "Yeah, your son has been coming and checking it out." And she said, "Really? Okay." She said, "So how much is it?" And he said, 2,000 rupees. Now, 2,000 rupees in 1976. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a fair amount of money. So my mother being my mother, she said, okay. Set it up in the shop. Hey, you, play for me. She auditioned me.
To see if it's worthy?
Yeah. So I did my Johnny Rotten mad, whatever I did. And she said, "Okay, yeah, he's got some time and something is happening here." And then he said, "I'll knock 10% off the kit." And I came home and I was just happy as a,
Wow.
oh man, it was just, I was,
Yeah.
thrilled to have a drum set, man. Then
So
I heard
that was the kit you used on the gigs that you were playing?
right
With
in the,
people and
no.
Okay.
That by that time, so the people and Waterfront, they had bought some gear.
Oh, okay. So they had a kit. And
They
everything.
had their own
Okay,
gear.
okay.
They had an old beat up Rogers kit. You remember
Far out.
Rogers?
Of course, it's still there.
Is it still around?
Yeah, it's still around. But nobody has a Rogers kit
Of
here
course,
anymore.
Trilok Bhai used to play it and took the snare drum to Germany, so I didn't have a snare drum. I had to get a snare drum. But yeah, like a kick, rack, and floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a snare drum from somewhere, and I had to find some cymbals. It was a trip, man.
Nothing was.
Oh
like,
man,
cymbals?
there was
There were no cymbals.
No, there were no head sticks, cymbals, nothing.
Wow.
I used to buy Haribhav Vishwanath rosewood sticks,
Ooh, heavy.
thick.
Yeah.
And like if they broke, they splintered. You know what I mean? It was not like now where you could play with it. No, it was a trip, man.
And
It
those
was
are
a trip.
used to play those 4-hour back-to-back gigs with those kind of.
Yeah. I had no sticks. I had nothing till Brijesh's father set up at Hirapanna. He set up that shop, Bhargava Musicals.
Yeah.
And he knew my mother, and he knew I was playing drums, and he told me one day, he said, "Why don't you come? I've got Ramo heads." And I was like, "What?" And yeah, man. And that's the first time I really got to play heads, and I think he got sticks and stuff, and I would
Right.
preserve them. Like, man, I gotta hold on, you know. Oh, is the thing. Kids don't know how spoiled they are now, man.
Oh
I
yeah,
tell
the
you.
choice is ridiculous now.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So you went. So after that, you went to Singapore and picked
Then
up.
I went to Singapore and got the
Right.
drums, and I came back, and then Ultimatum happened, and
Yeah.
a lot of things happened, and
I remember. Now, was this kit after the Tama kit? Was it the big pearl kit
oh
with the
no,
huge rack,
yeah, yeah.
like the cymbals hanging?
Oh yeah. I got that. I got the rack. I was in New York.
It was a white kit.
It was a white kit. So I was in New York. You know, at the height of my advertising thing, I got disillusioned with the whole thing, and I just went to New York. I went for a holiday and stayed for 2 years.
Whoa. Okay.
I went for a month and stayed for 2 years.
So that was when you were hanging with Bruce Sweden and
No,
that
much
was-
later.
Okay.
90. I went in 1991, and I was still a music producer. I was not a drummer at all. And there was a studio going out of sale.
Oh.
It's like selling shit. And they had this white pearl kit for $300.
No.
Yeah. 10, 12, 14, 22, and a bass drum. That was it. It was weird. The shells were all wood. The bass drum was fiberglass.
Interesting.
Weird. I've never seen something like that. And they said, yeah, well, Peter Erskine was here last week. He played this and all, you know. And I said, give it to me. I'm taking it, man. And I had some beat up cymbals. I gave those to Kurt.
Yeah, I remember.
I gave those to Kurt.
And because I remember was it Manori Bell or something? There was a big music festival.
Oh, with Louis. We played, yeah. Roy played.
Because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember seeing this white pearl kit with cymbals hanging.
I had a rack with the up things, and I had the cymbals coming down.
Was it the Paistes that you had got?
Yeah.
It was the Paistes.
it was the Paistes. I was endorsing them for a while.
And that started on the European tour?
Started my first 1980. No, my second.
The second run with Sangam?
I'm trying to remember. If Charlie was on it or not. But it was Sangam.
Right.
They're playing Zurich.
Right. And they approached you after the gig, right?
And they
before the
came,
gig
like
was...
before
yeah.
the gig, all that, you know, backstage was like a candy shop. It's like 200 cymbals back there, and you know. But it's amazing how they do the backline, and these two stools with rollers. Okay, come on. Which of the drummers you like? I said, Billy Cobham, Tony. Okay. Try this right. Try this crash. Boom, boom, boom. I chose like 8 cymbals, and then we go on stage. And they set it all up for me. They didn't even let me. No. You sit there, because it was like a riser. Because festival. It had to be
Roll
on, roll off, and they were doing everything. And I was like, okay, I'll just sit here. And we played and had a banging set. And I'd never played cymbals like that in my life, man. You know. And I'm in the green room, getting ready to head out. And the guy comes down. I still, I can still remember. And he came and he said, how do you like our cymbals? And I said, well, they suck, but I really like them, I was trying to be quip. And he said, yeah, that's for you. The whole bag, man. And he said, yeah, just sign here. He said, we don't know anything about India, but we like how you play, and
Look at that.
who knows?
Wow.
Who knows? And I signed, man. I was walking on edge, I had this I think I wanted to sleep with it. It's like I didn't want to let go of it. You know what I mean?
Shit. Yeah.
It's like, 21 years old or 22, whatever it was, man. I was
Yeah.
like, what does this even mean, man?
Wow.
And then we go to Berlin, and Sonor is playing, Sonor has the back line. And it's, what they've released now is the 100 year, 150.
150.
Bro, it's the same kit that I played.
Wow.
It's the phonic,
Yeah.
2 bass drums and the
Yeah,
power
yeah.
toms. and
Yeah.
It's the loudest thing I've heard in my life, man. 14/6. And it was like, pah! I was like, whoa, what is this, man? I'd never heard drums like that.
That
in
video is
my life.
online. That Sangam Berlin.
Is it?
I think there's a video of Sangam
We
Berlin.
gotta find it, man. You gotta show
And I think
me.
it's that's the kit.
It's the
huh?
kit.
Yeah.
It's the kit. And we played, and same thing. it was a family then. It wasn't. It was Otto von Link. Von Link was the family, and he came and he said, same thing. Like, how do you like the drums? I said, bro, you got to stop doing this, man. It's like this is like the Rolls Royce of drums, you know. And he said, we'd love for you to come to the factory. So I found a way to go up to the factory, and I remember it was winter, so it was all snow and stuff. And we get there, and they've got a drum kit set up for me, and they've got the people there, and they said, "Okay, play." And I said, "Okay." I mean, yeah, I'll play something. And I went up. I don't know what I played. I played, and they said, "We'll give you 30% of factory price."
Which was a great deal at the time.
Yeah, I had $100 in my pocket, man. You know, it's like I'm 21 years old, man. You know, and I told them. But here's the beautiful thing, and they said 30% of factory. I said, listen, I really respect it, but I got nothing, man. You know, but let's circle back. Let's circle back.
I mean, that's crazy because in the beginning of your career,
Steve Smith was playing that kit with Journey.
Right.
And I know this.
Right.
Because I'd seen him, and I'd listened to Journey, and I'd seen, and this was, well, it was either 81 or 82, because it was either the first run or the second run with Charlie. And I remember I had to go back and do a recording in Holland with some people for an album, and they said, "What about your drums?" I said, "Hang on," and I called Sonor. Check this out. I'm nobody. I said, "Yeah, we remember you." I said, "Listen, I'm doing a recording in Hilversum in Holland. All I can do is give you credit on the record, you know." I said, "No problem. What do you need?" I said, 2 22s, 10, 12, 13 rack, 14, 16 floor, and 6 cymbal stands. So, okay, done. My representative in Holland will call you. He called me. Do you know, I went the next day in the studio. They were set up. And I didn't even know he had only one 22-inch bass drum. He drove to Germany in the night and got it for me and came back. Now, what I'm saying is, I am nobody.
Right.
And if this is the attention, and that's the day I vowed, I will only endorse Sonor. Not for anything else.
Yeah.
I said, if this is how they treat you, this is where I want to be.
Right. So Sonor was always there.
In my head.
If you played other kids, Sonor was always there.
And it was, and they're just, you know, incredible drum sets, man, you know.
I mean, it's crazy because with Paiste, it's like full circle, no, now?
Well, you know, I mean, you know, I mean, it's, you know, listen, we never leave instruments. Yeah. We leave people. You just move on to a more happy place. All instruments are great, you know, and we don't take away from any manufacturer or any, you know, they're all great instruments. Where can you find your happy place? You know, playing the instrument you like. Does it represent you? Does it represent your sound? Yes, you know, those are also things that can be tweaked, but we want support, we want respect also,
right.
No?
So it's, like you said, all the instruments are made
They're all
high
great,
level,
man.
great,
They're
but
all
it's
great.
you who make it happen.
Of course. I forget who it was. Gary Husband told me about this. He's a great drummer. He was having a hard time with the company. He says, "Let me get off the drums. Look at it. How does it sound now?"
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's just a power thing. You know, if you meet the right people, it's great. And Paiste, I came full circle. I played everybody, man.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I played all the big companies.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate that they gave me that opportunity. But these guys are incredible, Paiste. You know, I fly if I go to Europe and I want a factory visit. The reason they slot it accordingly is it's not just a factory visit, man. You go there, they put you up, they feed you, they drop you back, they take you to the airport. I'm not Steve Smith, and I'm not like, you know, but the respect, the love, you know, That's, I think,
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. And your
We'll
love for
make
the
any
sound,
cymbal
yeah.
sound good, bro.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm telling you, man.
Because
You
it's
give me
here,
any
it's
cymbal,
here,
man.
it's here.
You
Yeah.
give me a cymbal, I'll make it sound good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you want to play with people, and I saw Paiste progress from the masters, and then they were like, and what I love about them is they're very, very clear. If you want to talk about Turkish stuff, we're not interested. We make cymbals the way we like to make cymbals. You want Turkish cymbals? Go to Turkey.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everyone got caught up in this whole thing. And I've seen some Turkish cymbals that, I promise you, G, are beyond anything you've heard from people that are peddling
Yeah.
Turkish-made cymbals.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we played with a gentleman in the 1980 Yatra we played, and there was a gentleman called Okay Temiz.
Okay. I do not know. Yeah.
Louis might remember.
Okay.
And he played with the European orchestra. Bro, he came with the copper drum set. He's from Turkey.
Okay.
Drums were all in the shape of a darabuka.
Okay.
And copper. I don't know what the excess baggage must have been.
heavy.
No, means the Niranjan must have gone broke on the excess baggage. Air India. Loud and beautiful, man. I mean, just like another kind of... You remember Kabam used to play the North drums?
Yep. Yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah, with like wet leather.
Yeah, like that, you know? So it was like kind of something like that. And then I got a chance to go to, because I used to play with this wonderful piano player in Istanbul, Aydın Esen.
Right.
Genius, total
Yeah.
genius. And we went to Okay's workshop.
Oh.
300 cymbals, bro. All from artisans. And I mean, you have no idea. You have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like cymbal smiths, you know?
Yeah.
So I've often wondered, I may get to a place one day where I won't endorse anything. Yeah, backline is rocking everywhere.
Backline
now,
is
man.
great. Yeah.
It's everywhere, you know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying I'm hearing stuff in my head, man. That's, you know, as I get older, it's going
Yeah.
back. It's going back in time, you know?
But you can kind of do it from whatever gear you're playing, as long as it's in the right kind of timbre with what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, but I'm hearing like metal that's, I don't know how to explain it, man.
You should kind of devise a signature line, or at least one.
If somebody allows me, yeah, I could. Yeah, just the kind of thing, you know. You know, it might not be bad to even talk about how do Indian manufacturers get their game up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the market's growing. You know,
It's starting a little bit like.
I like that
yeah.
kid, Riyad. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. You know, I like him. How much stock do you put in, you know, it's how much stock do you put into being connected with famous brands and things? What do
Yeah.
you really need?
Yeah. It's like
I'll tell you what I need.
Yeah.
I need a bass drum, a right cymbal, and a snare drum. I promise you. That's all I need for a gig. In fact, everything else is a distraction. And I'm loath to admit it because I love big setups and I
Yeah.
love to play around. And you know me, I never play the same set twice.
Yeah.
But really, that's all I need. One rack, one floor.
That is what you hear.
That's every morning. I wake up and the first thing I hear is my right cymbal and the snare drum. That's it. And if I can get that right, that's it. I really don't need much, you know. And I'm slowly getting, as I get older, I'm getting wiser and I'm getting to that place. I'm getting to that place. And
Yeah, coming to this concept, like you were mentioning about facility of younger drummers
yes,
right now.
yes.
But what's the practicality of longevity to be able to sound like this after like 50 years of playing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think it's, listen, on one level, it's fantastic that somebody is, It's like F1 racing or something. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think it's.
Do you think it's kind of like a sportsman career then? Because then you start kind of at a certain age.
I think it's relevant to what are the possibilities of a human being on a drum set, and I respect that. I think the time that you put in
Right.
to do that, we can't disrespect that. You know, just because I'm coming from a different place and I'm too old to fucking 8 hours a day. And it's not
Right. Of course.
It's you do that when you're 20.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I must respect it. I'm not one of those guys that says, "Hey, what the?" No. Somebody's put in the time. I respect it.
Right.
Now, what you're going to do with that facility, that's up to you, man.
Right.
You know, if you can build a career around it, fantastic. You know, that's great. But let me put it this way: if you go to the gym every day, you're going to wear a tight T-shirt, bro.
Yeah. Or no T-shirt.
Or no T-shirt. So, what are the places that you can bring this to? I think it's great. As long as you can do that and lend yourself to a musical situation, beautiful. It's great, man. It's the evolution of the human being with the instrument, and we have to respect it. I don't knock that at all. No. But then, you listen to Brian Blade or you listen to Elvin, and they didn't need to do anything to wow you.
Right.
What they did was just it's too much,
Imagination.
Oof, it's like even today, it's incredible. So I think both are valid. I'm not one of those guys from the old school that says, "Hey, what? No. I'm sorry. If you can't do it just because you're too old, don't knock it, man."
Yeah.
The kids are doing what they're doing, and I respect it, man. I love it. I'll listen to it. And I'll listen to it as long as you engage me, because I'm listening to the spirit and I'm listening to the musical context. I'm not listening to, "Oh, can I do this?" I stopped doing that a long time back, man.
Yeah.
I didn't play for, 14, 15, 16 years. And when I came back to it, the first guy I saw was Ronald Bruner. And I said, "What? No, you got to be like joking, man. That modern drummer thing."
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, man, this is nonsense," So I knew that the language had changed, and I've embraced some of it, and I see you, and I see Andrew and Jay. I see, and I say, yeah, we got to be a part of this. We have to be a part of this.
That was very great and very open of you to kind of invite us to the studio to hang, and then we used to play.
Of course.
So that was kind of like everyone's bringing their game.
Of course.
But then we were seeing where you were coming from, and then,
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, listen, man, we all serve the instrument and we all serve music. Listen, when you go to church to pray, nobody prays better than the next guy. We're all praying. We're all equal. We're all equal in prayer. Nobody prays better than the next person, man. Your faith is your faith. My faith is my faith. We're invested in that. This is all for people that are insecure, and, young people are going to come. Young people are going to play.
Yeah.
They may play better or they may play different, and they will play.
Yep.
And that's evolution. How are you going to, what do you, I don't even understand what that means. That's all people. The thing is that most people who don't accept what's going on today with the instrument are people who have given up on some level. You know what I mean? Man, I don't know about, playing fast, but I'll swing you to death, man. You know what I mean? So everyone's got their own game. Everyone's got their own music, and everyone's got their own thing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I respect that. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's probably one of the hardest things for people to kind of be an individual, be themselves.
Mm.
And like you say, it's like they can learn the technique, but how do they make music out of that? And how do they play who they are?
Yeah.
which is probably the hardest transitions for musicians.
Individuality. So here's the thing. The thing is that everyone has a process to study and learn, and we have the basics and the fundamentals, but identity. Who are you? I used to tell Darshan when he used to come to me when he was 16, and I said, listen, don't I want to hear who you are. I don't care how weird it is or how funky it is, or I don't want you sounding like anybody else. I want to know, all of us, when we play, people come to meet us musically. So who are you? I mean, you listen to my playing, and whatever it is, it's me playing.
Yep.
And that's all I want. I don't want you to meet somebody else. I'm not pretending to be somebody else. Hey,
Right.
You got to meet me, And I encourage all musicians to have that identity. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of guys fall into function-based playing because
Yeah.
they have to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
But then I think it has to come from you if you want to put in that extra time and effort into...
I think you need to have people around you that tell you it's okay not to play so much. And it's okay to be who you want to really be.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stop. Because it's moving so fast. You just got to stop and say, what is it that I really want to do? Is the environment making me do all of this? I don't know, social media or likes, dislike. Oh, I play so fast. I got to do this, which is fine. It's okay. But what do you really want to be? And if you can answer that question, then that's fine.
Right.
It's a big problem. Also, I think kids relative to India, we don't have enough. We've often spoken about this. Like, drummers don't have enough musical situations to be a part of. You know what I mean?
Challenge them and kind of bring out their creative
we
side.
don't.
Yeah.
We don't. I always say I had it better in my time. I think drummers have it harder now. It's become too. What are you going to do? You're going to do a Bollywood gig. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to back some singer, but can the singer handle what you do? I mean, some of the stuff I do with A.R. Rahman is outrageous, but he can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's not insecure. He knows.
Right.
He's a hit songwriter, man. He's not threatened by anybody.
Right.
I go out there, I play pocket 75-80% of the gig. I step out on some things that are illegal, man. I mean, he loves it. He doesn't care. It's relative to what people find themselves in. What situations do you find yourself in? Drummers especially, I think the rhythm section, man, has got a bad rap over the years. We're pigeonholed into the guys at the back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Till Buddy Rich, he said, average band with a great drummer is a great band, and a great band with an average drummer is an average band, man.
Right.
Yeah. And John McLaughlin knew it too, man. He said, I can change, he told me, Ranjit Ji, I can change any one instrument in this band, and I'll change it. I change the drummer, I change everything. Everything changes with the drummer.
Right.
Because if you and me decide to play real soft, man, you got to play soft, man.
Right.
You got no choice.
You drive the bus.
You drive the bus. Yeah. And, that's how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thanks so much, Ranjit.
My pleasure.
Thank you for doing this.
No, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. More
And-
power to, what's it say?
Brewskis with Banks.
I'm also proud to be a drummer.
Yeah. Cheers.